I feel like it was like that for a lot of us. It's easier for me than it was for Tom because I wasn't playing a character that had already existed in the previous book.
The Snow White issue has exploded into unprecedented territory, with Joe Rogan becoming the latest voice to join the growing din of criticism. What started as a simple remake has morphed into one of Hollywood's most dramatic controversies, leaving Disney executives scrambling and their main actress under fire from all sides. The situation hit a boiling point when Joe Rogan, never one to mince words, took direct aim at both Disney and Rachel Zegler on his massively popular show. "I mean, come on, you're a Disney lady, and you're out here telling people to never know peace. What are you doing?" Rogan exclaimed, clearly puzzled by Zegler's past social media posts.
Business with large Western companies and brands, but we bring to China a type of ideology, admittedly a relatively benign one as it relates to politics in China, but still a Western ideology. And in many ways, that had value to them.
It's like being cast as Cinderella and then telling half your audience they're trash. How does that help anyone? The debate has grown far beyond just creative opinions. When leaked footage of the film's trailer started circulating, it quickly became one of YouTube's most disliked videos in history, an amazing achievement considering YouTube now hides the dislike. Counter sources revealed that the trailer achieved a staggering 96.3% dislike ratio, with watchers going out of their way to install browser extensions just to show their disapproval. Behind the scenes, the situation has become even more confusing. Former Disney Imagineer Jim Shaw, after a 33-year career with the company, dropped a bombshell by describing the film as unwatchable and saying it should skip theaters completely and go straight to streaming.
And my advice to them was to not hear the noise as much, to continue doing the job that we've entrusted them to do,
right?
Which is to tell the truth, to state the facts, to present the news in an accurate and a fair and in a timely basis.
This unprecedented criticism from a Disney veteran sent shockwaves through the industry, but what really caught everyone's attention was Zegler's seemingly dismissive attitude toward the original story. In interview after interview, she looked to distance herself from the famous tale that had enchanted generations. "I was scared of the original video," she admitted in one particularly controversial moment. "I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again." These comments didn't just raise eyebrows. They caused a firestorm among Disney's loyal fan base. Joe Rogan didn't hold back when addressing this apparent disconnect. "Disney has this whole thing about being family-friendly, right?" He questioned it on his show, but then you've got their Snow White basically telling people to go to hell. It's just bad. Optics.
She was like, "Jacqueline, if they play Getaway Car or Maroon, she's on crisis watch." And not only did she play Getaway Car, she also played Maroon. I was having a mental breakdown in the audience at MetLife Stadium.
His words resonated with millions of fans who were already questioning Disney's direction with the project. The debate deepened when information about the film's changes started leaking to the public and the seven dwarfs transformed into what Disney called magical creatures. The prince was nearly written out of the story completely. Even the core theme of Loveliest of Them All was being reinterpreted to focus on justice rather than beauty. These changes led Rogan to make a stark prediction. "These animators are on shaky ground right now. They've got to be panicking." Social media exploded with comparisons between Zegler's method and how other actresses had handled similar parts.
The rice has to be body temperature, and if it takes too long to serve it, it's no longer body temperature. But what was interesting to me about him was he had 3 Michelin stars, and he was still trying to learn how to get better, how to be better.
Yes.
And I showed that to executives at Disney.
One popular TikTok user pointed out that Disney found a way to cast someone for Snow White whose entire attitude is "I hate Snow White." The difference became even more stark when people started comparing Zegler's interviews to Bailey's respectful handling of The Little Mermaid remake. Perhaps most telling was the leaked trailer's reaction. Industry sources revealed that Disney had to pull down a second teaser after it started accumulating dislikes at an unprecedented rate. "If I were Disney," Rogan offered during one show, "I'd throw this thing on Disney Plus and call it a day. The backlash isn't worth it. At least if it's streaming, people can watch it in secret without pulling it through the mud." Even the situation took another turn when Zegler's past social media posts emerged. During the 2020 election, she had made controversial political comments that many felt were inappropriate for someone representing a Disney princess.
What was it like seeing yourself for the first time in full Snow White drag?
I love that description. It's perfect. Oh my God. Well, when you get to wear Sandy Powell, first of all, insane. And then you get to be lit by Mandy Walker.
Rogan addressed this directly. "It's like putting a dragon as the lead in Sleeping Beauty, a cool idea until it starts burning everything down." The controversy hit new heights when industry veterans started speaking out. Former Disney employees, who rarely criticized the company publicly, couldn't stay silent behind closed doors. Sources stated that test screenings had given concerning results. "Disney has to be sitting there like, what did we sign up for?" Rogan quipped on his podcast, "It's like having a dragon as the lead in Sleeping Beauty, a cool idea until it starts burning everything down." Disney's attempt to redefine the phrase fairest of them all to focus on justice rather than beauty became another flashpoint, while Zegler backed this change as modernization. Critics saw it as unnecessary political messaging. "They're not changing the story. They're totally..."
I did. It was so fun. Oh my God. As a huge Disney fan, it was so exciting to finally get to go to D23. Yeah. I live on the East Coast, so I was never able to go, and also tickets sell out like in a flash. So it was so exciting to go, and my mom was super jealous because my mom is the reason I'm a Disney fan.
The leaked video of the Seven Dwarfs replacement characters became another big point of contention, as one insider described them as being uncanny valley levels of creepy. The CGI creatures were so controversial that even disability advocates spoke out, saying that Disney had missed a chance for authentic representation. "We went from 7 famous characters to what looks like something from a horror movie." One viral comment noted things got even more complicated when Zegler admitted she hadn't even seen the end result during a press event. The situation has become even more difficult with the revelation of Zegler's words about the prince's role in the story. Whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess. Until 20,124, all of Andrew's parts could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. This casual dismissal of a core part of the story led Rogan to question the entire project's direction. "It's like they're making a totally different movie and just putting the Snow White..."
The board was making a decision to make a change at the CEO level at Disney, and that they might ask me to step back.
And you say to her?
And I said to Willow, "I'm getting this call. It's possible that I could get asked back."
Name on it. He mentioned on his podcast that the contrast between this controversy and other Disney remakes couldn't be more stark. Industry experts are predicting that this controversy could impact not just Snow White but Disney's entire live-action remake plan. The numbers are wild in one field. Insider noticed with a 96.3% dislike ratio on YouTube, this isn't just normal backlash. This is historically bad. Even more telling was that viewers had to go out of their way to install browser extensions just to show their disapproval, since YouTube usually hides the dislike counter. The situation has become even more difficult with the revelation of Zegler's words about the prince's role in the story. Whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess. Until 20,000.
I feel like it was like that for a lot of us. It's easier for me than it was for Tom because I wasn't playing a character that had already existed in the previous films. And those performances are so wonderful that you don't want to try to recreate anything because there's the fear of failing miserably. But also it's 64 years before the original films take place, the original books, and Francis Lawrence, who directed Catching Fire and both Mockingjay films, and Nina, who produced all of the Hunger Games content, they didn't put any pressure on us to try to recreate anything.
124. All of Andrew's parts could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. This casual dismissal of a core part of the story led Rogan to question the entire project's direction. It's like they're making a totally different movie and just putting the Snow White name on it. He mentioned on his podcast that the contrast between this controversy and other Disney remakes couldn't be more stark. As Rogan pointed out, look at how Halle Bailey handled The Little Mermaid. She showed respect for the original while adding something new. This question mark feels like they're trying to tear down the original just to make news. The comparison gained steam on social media with side-by-side clips of Bailey's gracious interviews next to Zegler's more controversial statements getting viral. Disney's attempt to redefine the phrase fairest of them all to focus on justice rather than beauty became another flashpoint, while Zegler backed this change as modernization. Critics saw it as unnecessary political messaging. They're not changing the story. They're totally